Can't stop, 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 stop. Move, move, move. This your jam, this your jam. Feel your soul, this your groove. Can't stop, 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 stop. Move, move, move. This your jam, this your jam. Feel your soul, this your groove. Said I know.
We are going to move on to free balling, which is the bulk of our show. The hottest topic in sports right now is field/court storming. First of all, anytime anything happens in the sports world, it is absolutely nauseating how they approach it, because it doesn't matter what it is, the significance of it, or whatever. If it's a hot topic where everybody can jump on and pick a side and I'm smarter than you and you suck, go fuck yourself. Yeah, like that is mainstream sports media at its finest. And no topic as of late has hit as hard as this damn court storming. The kid from Duke, Kyle, I think is his first name, is Filipkowski. I don't know how to pronounce it. Big dude, projected lottery pick in next year's NBA draft, superstar talent, soft. And this isn't a hot take. This is just my evaluation of what I saw. More information has come out. I didn't jump on TikTok and give an immediate reaction because I don't want to have those instant, just emotional reactions to things. I like to wait for information to come out, wait for the dust to settle, all this, before I make a decision on what my opinion is going to be. I like to let the cake bake before I decide what I'm going to do. And I've watched all the angles and everything else. While court storming presents a massive opportunity for there to be some sort of dispute between player and fan, it is a highly emotional event. You've got drunk and, I'm sure sober, but you've got young, for the most part, young, drunk, crazy fans who are maniacal, to say the least, in that moment, running on the court from every which direction as soon as the buzzer hits, and it is absolute fucking mayhem. And as a coach, I do feel for the players who are getting rushed on. I really genuinely do. Court storming and field storming is a massive part of the whole just magical aura and history and all the feel goods that there is in college sports. It's that David and Goliath moment where this team has no shot. They're whatever point underdogs. They've got no shot to win. This vaunted dominant powerhouse team's coming to town, and everybody in the crowd is kind of thinking you're going to get your ass kicked, but you're hanging on because you're a fan. And then that David and Goliath moment happens, and it's fucking beautiful. It's so damn beautiful when the underdog has those massive victories over their opponent. That's not really what happened with Wake Forest and Duke. Wake Forest is actually really fucking good, and they were favored by 3 points. So, side note about that is that when Wake Forest storms the court against Duke, even though they're unranked, and Duke is ranked number 8 in the nation at the time, I believe, even though they're ranked and they're not, your team was favored. And your team is very good. And when you, as a fan base, storm, and they stormed, it was like it was like Normandy. They was coming from everywhere. It was a classic moment, no doubt about it. But when you storm, that is you admitting that your program is not up to par. That is you putting yourself on a scale of top-tier programs, bottom-tier programs. Top-tier programs beating top-tier programs, they don't storm. Middles and middles, they don't storm. Middle and high, really. They don't storm, or they shouldn't. Low-level teams that beat high-level teams, they storm. So when you stormed Wake Forest, you put yourself down here. You did that. Not us, not the fans, not the handicappers in Vegas who were setting the lines. They believed in you. You didn't believe in yourselves. So don't really see why you would storm in that particular moment. It's not really a good look for you. But to get back on track with the actual event itself, Filipkowski looked like, obviously he saw everybody coming. Obviously the first guy that was running up to him was eyeballing him and running past him, probably going, woo, yeah, doing that sort of thing. And if you're doing this to protect yourself, I get it. He sees him coming. He sticks his foot out. He plants his foot on the ground, which is why he got injured. Although they ran scans and nothing is broken or torn or even strained. All reports are basically saying it's like a bruise, like it's just a little sore. So that's why I said soft. That's why I said soft. Because of the overplayed. He goes to the media right after the game. I felt like I was targeted. I felt like they did it on purpose. It's like that scene in Longest Yard. I think he did it on purpose. And then Adam Sandler asked him if he did it on purpose. He's like, oh yeah. Makes him apologize. That's what it felt like to me. That Filipkowski was going to the media and crying that they did it on purpose. Like, it's just some shit that you would see from 4 and 5 year old kids on the playground. Like, little Johnny pushed me down. I think he wanted to hurt me. They didn't. Man, they were running on the court to celebrate their team. Yes, you being a Duke player who they just beat, they're going to run past you and they're going to go, woo, yeah, take that, bitch, and all that shit in your face. Do you deserve that from a fan on the court right in your face immediately after the court storming happens? Probably not. But if you don't want that shit to happen, win the fucking game. It is that simple. But where I fall on this whole thing... Oh, another thing. John Shire, I believe, is the Duke head coach. I don't discredit him at all. He didn't see exactly what took place. As soon as he saw the commotion going on and assistants and trainers and everybody else kind of trying to huddle around Filipkowski to get him off the court, he jumped right in there, knocked kids out of the way, not trying to hurt the Wake Forest fans or students or whoever they were. He was trying to protect his own. And as a coach, your sole responsibility is to protect your kids. So when he vowed to take the head coaching job at Duke, it's his job to prioritize the well-being of his players. So him rushing in there and getting involved and knocking kids back to clear space for him to get his players safely to the locker room, I do not fault him for that. I also do not fault him for going to the media right after the game and making a deal about it. He didn't have any. That's what I was saying. When you have knee-jerk emotional reactions immediately following something happening, you're not going to have the right perspective. You're not going to be in the right mindset. You literally have not had time to separate yourself from the moment, take a step back, and look at it big picture from an objective point of view. It was heat of the moment, player hurt, he doesn't know the extent of the injury, all he knows is he's being evaluated, and all he knows is that he has an obligation as the head coach to go report to the press immediately following the game. That's what he did. And of course he's going to have to answer a question about that, and then when they bring it up, what's he supposed to say? I love court storming. I'm thrilled that my player got, involved in an accident that may or may not be serious. That he's supposed to protect his kids. Now, whether or not you agree that storming the court should be banned forever is neither here nor there. I believe that you cannot fault John Shire for his opinions in the press immediately following the game. Also haven't heard 100% if he is playing. I'm recording this on Tuesday. Louisville does have a game tonight against Duke. I haven't heard either way whether he's going to be playing or not. To be honest with you, he doesn't need to play. So if they want to continue to build the narrative on the whole court storming and it's violent and dangerous and this and that, they're going to sit him tonight regardless. If that's a narrative that they want to continue to push for like their own sake, they're probably not going to play him tonight. But like I said, I haven't heard either way. But they don't need to play him. It's Louisville, and I live 10 minutes south of Louisville. So even though I'm a Kentucky fan, I don't hate on Louisville. I did that shit when I was younger. I'm 31 now. I don't really care. I wish them all the best. Except for when BBN comes to town. Then it's time to get your ass kicked. But anyways, this also goes to point out Caitlin Clark's incident about, I don't know, a month ago, give or take. I think that they were at Ohio State, and one fan, it looked like one fan was coming on the court to storm by herself. There was, a couple dozen earlier, but it was nowhere near the mayhem that was at Wake Forest. That shit was wild. I mean, but anyways, Caitlin Clark was running off the court. One fan is coming. And when it's 100 people at the same time, like it was for Duke, you're really just like trying to get out of there. You don't really, there's nowhere to duck or dodge. You're fucking surrounded. But in Caitlin Clark's incident, it was one girl coming from one direction, and they were like, it looked like a linebacker chasing a running back on the sidelines. It was a perfect pursuit angle. I should show that clip to my kids when I get back into coaching. But this is how you take an angle. I don't think that the Ohio State fan was purposely trying to take out Caitlin Clark. Why would she? They had already beat her. It doesn't make any sense. If you're going to do that shit, you do it before the game starts. Right? I don't think anybody's coming after the game trying to hurt these kids when their team already beat their ass. So that's why nobody storms when they lose. They did back in the day. Actually, I wrote something down here. Northwestern, and I didn't get the year, but it was a long time ago. Northwestern's fans stormed the field after their 29th straight loss, chanting, we are the worst. We are the worst. That shit's funny, but for the most part, nobody's going to storm after their team loses. So, anyways, I thought that both the fan and Caitlin Clark could have easily avoided that, especially Caitlin Clark. She and I just protected her in the last episode when Jay Williams said she wasn't great. I am 100% in agreement that Caitlin Clark is fucking great. She is an absolute stud and a phenom to watch. What she's doing in Iowa is insane. But with that said, nobody's perfect, and I do think that little floppy and like you're a D1 athlete, I think that you can see one person coming even out of your peripheral and get out of the way. I do believe that. But the question now is, should we ban court storming or not? And again, mainstream sports media is do or die. It's the ultimate pick a side, pick a hill to die on, fight till death. Once you pick a side, there's no coming back. You have to be either here or there. I used to follow politics, and I got out of paying attention to it as much because this shit is ridiculous. Reality resides right in the middle. I hate that shit. So, my simple answer to that question, no, we shouldn't ban court storming. It's fucking awesome. Again, there's nothing more beautiful in sports than that iconic upset when a team who is not supposed to be there or relevant at all has a massive, potentially program-changing upset over a ranked opponent. And again, as a competitor, I don't want to put my team on the low end of the scale if it's not. I am in agreement. I mean, if you want to storm, if you're the 17th ranked team in the nation and you beat the 5th ranked team in the nation and you want to storm, whatever. I mean, you look dumb, but I don't care. But I do think that when teams do have a true massive upset victory, that is part of the just nostalgia and the aura that is that just great college experience. The college game, the passion from the fan base in college is by far greater than any professional sport. I mean, NFL fans are a little nutty, don't get me wrong. They don't compare to college football fans. And don't even get me started on the NBA crowds. College basketball experience, like just the experience of being in a stadium when they storm the court, is fucking just fun. It's special. It's a beautiful thing. So I'm not against it. What I would suggest is just have awareness. A lot of these programs, the decision makers, the suits, they have got to do a better job of preparing for the moment. If Wake Forest internally truly felt like big time underdogs, and I mean they brought a crowd. I mean they packed that place. So they were excited for the game. You could feel it. The campus, I wasn't on it, obviously, but I would guess that the college, just the energy, the vibe around it, I bet spirits were high all week, and they were excited to be hosting Duke. Even though Wake Forest is good this year, they're not historically good, so I get it from that standpoint. But the people that are making decisions have got to do better at recognizing the moment and preparing for the event that they do win. And you can kind of tell how horny, to use Kenny Chesney's term, you can tell how horny your crowd is. It doesn't take until they storm to realize that these motherfuckers are about to go apeshit if we win. Like, you got to feel that. And you have to prepare for it ahead of time. I think that storming the court is awesome. But it is the school's responsibility, the host's responsibility, to present a safe, competitive atmosphere for not only their team and their fans, but also the opposing team and the opposing fans. I mean, like, you don't go and put like shards of glass in the opposing locker room and shit. Like, you don't do, out of like sportsmanship and the nature of sports and sportsmanship in general, being a good host. Like, I'm not saying that you have to sprinkle flower petals and put the do the whole nine and set up their locker room with all the snacks and whatever. I'm not saying that you have to be a perfect host to the opponents, but it is your responsibility as a school to provide them with a safe, competitive environment. And that includes post-game and getting security around the venue in appropriate numbers to at least get the players off the court. The home team players, they need to be protected too, but a lot of times when they storm, they don't actually end up going through the handshake line. They just kind of go straight party mode with their fans. So, not really. I mean, the kids that want to get out, they'll get out. I mean, it's not like they're wearing the other team's color. It's not as dangerous for them, but you never know who's going to be in the crowd. But that opposing team, it's that school, that hosting school's responsibility to get them the fuck up off the court as quick as possible. Somebody suggested fans should go to jail. I think it was Jay Billis. That's ridiculous. Like, that's straight nutty. Like, need a straight jacket in a padded room nutty. If you are an adult of Jay Billis's caliber, who, by the way, went to Duke. He's a Dookie. But if you truly believe that these fans need to get locked up, okay, you've lost it, brother. You've absolutely lost it. Currently, there are fines set in program from the schools. Like, that's the only penalty as of right now. And you can't do anything to the fans. You just can't. That's why as a school, you've got to do whatever you got to do to protect the players so you don't have an incident. When players run onto the court, it presents a massive opportunity for there to be fist fights and the whole a damn repeat of what happened in Detroit. Malice in the Palace is what they nicknamed it, when the Detroit Pistons got in a huge fight that bled into fighting fans in the crowd when they had Indiana Pacers come into town. You present those opportunities when they storm, especially as soon as the buzzer goes off. Like, storming the court's fine. We got to do a better job of protecting the kids. That's what I'm all about. That's what I stand for. And it's just that simple. I want the fans to get their experience. They deserve it. The fans are the ones who pays everybody's bills. They're the ones who pays for the coach. They pay for all the amenities that the players get. All the stadium upgrades. All that shit is because of the fans. The fans deserve that moment just as much as the players do. But we got to get the other kids out of there, man. That's what we got to do. Somebody else suggested that there be like a 10-second countdown. Good luck with that shit. Good luck with that shit. Be like a bunch of hungry, like a wolf pack. Just like as soon as you, that's going to be, it'll probably be even worse, to be honest with you. They'll be tripping over each other worse than they already do. That's silly. The only thing that they're currently doing is each conference is responsible for dictating their own rules, basically. As of right now, the SEC has the most strict rules against court storming in the shape of fines. So what happens is when an SEC team storms a court against another SEC team, they have to pay the opposing school $100,000, I believe, for the first offense. The second offense, it goes to $250,000. Excuse me. And the third offense, they owe the other school $500,000. Money don't mean shit. You know how big these programs are? And if they're getting a truly monumental victory, they'll wipe their ass with that $500,000. It's the SEC we're talking about. It's not the Missouri Valley Conference or whatever. Like, it's the SEC. They wipe their ass with $500,000. You shitting me? And that's the most strict. The least strict is the ACC, at least of the Power 5. I don't know what the other conferences are. I didn't dig that deep. But the ACC currently has no fines. There's nothing for storming the court. So for all the people that are in mainstream sports that are on one side going, fuck the players, the fans deserve the opportunity, and if they get fucking stampeded and stepped on and kicked and yada yada, that's what college basketball means. That's what college football, that's what college sports are all about. It's our job as fans to get an opportunity to stampede and kick those fucking players in the nuts after the game. For the people who are on that side that don't give two fucks about the college athletes' health and safety, you are a piece of shit. Straight up. To the people on the other side, let's do away with it. Let's no more storming the court. Let's do a single file line, actually. Let's direct everybody to a single file line towards a safe space where we will provide everybody with pets, dogs and kittens to hold, and everybody can have a circle jerk in the parking lot. But it'll be a safe zone in the parking lot where everybody is agreed to meet up at a certain time after the game. Because court storming is just too dangerous. Again, when you fall on a side all the way this way or a side all the way this way, it really doesn't matter what side you're on, you're fucking wrong. If you are all the way or again, the reality is right here in everything. The reality is right here. Court storming's fucking awesome. Also, smart people figure it out. That's what you get paid to do. That's why you get to put on a suit and tie every day and make the big boy decisions, and you got the best box office in the house. You get paid to make those decisions. So use your fucking brain. That's what they're paying you for. Figure it out. Figure out a way where fans can have a magical moment with their team and the other team can be safe. It's not that fucking difficult. I did write down a bunch of notes about the history of court storming. Obviously, I went way further into the specifics than I had originally anticipated, but I do think that you all will find some of these fun facts of historical court storming pretty damn interesting. So the first reported court storming or field storming, this was in football, was fucking hilarious. In 1876, Yale versus Harvard, the Yale fans stormed the court before the game ended, and they tore down the goalpost so that Harvard didn't have the opportunity to kick a field goal to win the fucking game. You gotta be shitting me, man. That's the first one. It's probably one of the best stories out there. I said the one about Northwestern storming the field after their 29 straight losses. In Montana, Division I AA team won the championship, whatever. I didn't get the year, but the fans stole a 30-foot section of the goalpost and they took it to a local bar named Red's Bar, and they tried to get it through the front door. It didn't fit. They did whatever and twisted it, contorted it, or whatever. They ended up getting the fucking field goal post through the back door and into Red's Bar, where it was set up as a prop. In 1961, Florida versus Florida State tied 3-3. After the game was over, the Florida fans stormed the field and tore down this field goal, or that field goal post. The Florida State fans tore down the other goal post. Both fans started carrying the goalposts towards each other like they were gonna have a joust, like a gladiator joust with the damn field goal post. This was in 1961. You can look it up. And the band, the best part is the band trying to bring a little peace to the situation. They just simply started playing the Star Spangled Banner, hoping that good old patriotism would kick in and everybody would look around like, you know what? We are friends. We love our country. Let's put this field goal post down. That shit was hilarious. In 1968, Rutgers stormed the field against Princeton. They had been losing like 82-0, 80-0 every time they played Princeton. Rutgers finally wins. Their fans tore down everything at Princeton. They even went out to the practice field and tore down the practice field goal posts. They would continue to do this 7 times over the next 13 years. And 6 of those, they stormed the field and ripped that shit down before the game even ended. Shit is nuts, dude. 2007 was the most recent time that it happened in the NFL. The Dolphins started the year off 0-13, and their fans stormed the field and ripped the goalpost down. You don't see this shit in the NFL. Not that it really happens that often, but Roger Goodell made it a point, a very quiet point, a very off-the-record point that to their TV contracts, like if some shit's happening or a fan is streaking on the field or something not related to the game is happening on the field, Roger Goodell basically has told all their media contracts, their providers, whether Fox, CBS, whatever, ESPN, whoever's hosting the game, whoever's showing the game, not to show that shit. So you don't hear about it in the NFL very much, but the last notable one was in 2007 when the Dolphins finally won after starting 0-13. In 2022, Alabama's Jermaine Burton was supposedly scared. He reported to his head coach, Nick Saban. He told Nick Saban that he punched the Tennessee fan in the face because he was scared after they lost and Tennessee started storming the field. anybody can get jumped and nobody's going to win 1 on 100. Hard for me to believe that he just kind of, I mean, watch the video. It's not like he's got 10 people coming to him. It's like a sucker punch. Sore loser. That's what it was. That was the most recent real violent incident that happened in college football. One of the most memorable ones that ever happened in college football was the band is on the field. The band is on the field at Stanford. So pretty iconic moment there that involves storming the field before the game even ends. Probably a record for storming the field before the game ends. Utah fans versus BYU back in 2011. Back in 2011, Utah was playing BYU at home, BYU being the favorite. BYU's quarterback throws an incomplete pass with 1 second left on the clock. Fans storm the field, they go crazy, they think that they won. Play results in a penalty for unsportsmanlike because of the fans storming the field. BYU moves the ball up 15 yards. They attempt a field goal. That field goal is then blocked as time expires because there's only 1 second left on the clock. As time expires, the field goal is blocked. Fans rush on the field. Hold the phone, hold the phone, hold the phone. There's a penalty. And then an additional penalty because the fans stormed the field again. There was I don't know what the original penalty was, but they got another penalty. So move the ball up again. BYU gets now a third chance to crush Utah's fan base. They end up missing the chip shot field goal that this turned into after all this shit. Utah does win the game, and they do, in fact, storm the field for the third time. A lot of people have never been involved in one court or field storming. Those motherfuckers did 3 times on one day. So that goes to say, if you are a fan, be responsible and know the fucking game that you're watching. Because if you storm the court or the field too early, you're going to fuck your own team. And if it's a 1-possession ball game in any sport or whatever, and your team ends up losing the game because you're a fucking idiot and you don't understand the rules and you don't understand what's going on, you have no awareness of the situation, and you cost your team, it's like the most humiliating, despicable, and unforgivable thing that you could do to those athletes who've worked their ass off on the field. So be a smarter fucking fan. Locally, and I watched a 15-minute historical video on the history of court storming and field storming. The most embarrassing early celebration occurred right here in our own state, and it happened between my absolute favorite school, had it painted everywhere on the walls, University of Kentucky, 2002, playing LSU. UK has the lead 30-27 with 2 seconds left on the field, or on the clock, sorry. The UK players have already given the head coach a Gatorade bat. The fans are already climbing down the walls at good old Commonwealth Stadium, which is what it was before it became Kroger Field. Everybody is in absolute just one more play and we're storming this bitch. On the final play of the game, LSU's quarterback throws a deep ball. That ball is tipped by a UK defender. It bounces about 7 yards further down the field where a LSU receiver just so happens to catch it right in stride and waltzes right into the end zone. Heartbreaking, crushing fucking loss. But what makes this moment the top moment on the history of court and field storming, even the video that I watched, what makes this the most embarrassing and worst court storming moment, is that the Kentucky fans fucking stormed the field anyways. They had no idea that they even lost. They were so amped up and so ready to storm the field over this massive win over LSU that they didn't even fucking pay attention to LSU having a miracle play on the last play of the game with 3 seconds left and winning the fucking ball game. So now you got UK fans all over the field ripping the goalpost down and everything else. Coach is soaking wet from the Gatorade bath he got from his own players, and these motherfuckers didn't even win the game. Man, that shit's embarrassing. as much as I believe that we can find a way to save court storming and field storming and find a way to make it safe for the players, y'all fans got to get smarter, man. Y'all got to really understand and learn what the fuck is going on in the sport that you're there to watch. Because, damn it, y'all look dumb at several moments in history. It's only a few. I couldn't give you the whole damn video. I couldn't break down every single moment in history. But there's enough right here to tell you there's some fucking dumb fan bases out there. So that's it on field and court storming. I'm moving on to the next main topic of our free balling segment. We're going to talk about all the quarterback free agency frenzy. I had this on the list to do for the first podcast, but I did not get an opportunity to do that. We had too much to talk about. So I'm going to go team by team, talk about their quarterback situation, and maybe try to find a good fit on out of the list of projected quarterback free agents. This is not going to include the kids drafted, although I'll probably mention at least the top few. So first of all, the Bears have the number 1 overall pick. If I were the GM, you're the worst team in professional football. That's why you have the first draft pick. Actually, they accumulated it from a trade from the previous season, but the Bears were, if not the worst record, I don't remember all the records, they were a bottom feeder team last year. And I think that they won 3 games, maybe 4. I honestly don't remember. Highest form of intelligence is knowing what you do not know. I really don't know. But I know they were fucking horrible. And they weren't fun to watch. I mean, unless you like watching the quarterback run for more yards than he passes, or even scoring 30 points on offense but giving up 58 on defense. If that's what you're into, the Bears, that's your show. But the Bears, either way, they had the number 1 overall pick. From a trade, they would have been the top team either way because they're horrible. If I were their GM, I would recognize that my quarterback is definitely not the only reason that we went 4-13. Don't hold me to it. 4-13, I believe. If your team went 4-13, your roster is bad. Your backups are bad. You got bad deals. Salary cap's probably misused, underused. There's a whole lot of things that go into building an NFL roster. It's not an individual sport. The quarterback is by far the most important position on the field, bar none. Nobody is arguing that. Nobody's arguing that. But when you start talking about being a piece away, then we can start talking about using that top pick on a quarterback if you think that you have everything but the quarterback. Who's in that spot? Hard saying right now. There's some really good teams out there who just, if they had a quarterback, they would be contenders. They really would be. But if I were the GM of the Bears, I would trade that number 1 overall pick for as many draft picks as I could possibly get for the same draft. I would not trade that number 1 overall draft pick for future picks. They can be included, but I would want at the very least, depending on how it's structured, we would obviously flip first round picks. If we gave you the number 1, we would get your number 2 through 32, wherever you fall. We would get that. Depending on that number, how far down we're falling in the first round, that would be followed up by a second round. And if you're somebody who's accumulated multiple, I would want 2 second rounds. if I'm falling all the way back to 32, let's say, okay. If I'm only moving from 1 to 4, I would still want at least a second round, but I would want to build up. Give me 2 fourth rounders if you got them. Your third. Give me 2 of your sevenths if you've got extra of those. I would trade Justin Fields for as many picks as humanly possible for this year's draft so that I can help reconstruct my roster. That's going to do multiple things. That's going to free up a shitload of cap space because you're going to have a lot more rookies that you've now drafted higher, and you're going to be expected to keep them. You're probably going to want to keep them. If you go 4-13, your roster's probably fucking bad, and they've got a good shot of making the team anyways. Okay? That's what I would do, number one. I would keep Justin Fields and maybe use one of my 6th or 7th, 5th, just depending on how the draft falls. I would use a later pick on a quarterback that I felt fit my coaching staff. That's what I would do. But I would go get another weapon. I would go get more protection on the offensive line. I would go get edge rushers. I would go get corners, DBs who could play, that are versatile. They can play man-to-man, yada, yada, whatever. I would be building pieces on the team. Okay? So the top free agents that are available, that would be something to look into as well. If you're the Bears and you're looking to replace Justin Fields, go get somebody who maybe is similar, who has a similar style of game, but that's an older veteran that you can have come in and you can have them mentor Justin Fields. I'm looking at some of the guys on this list. Russell Wilson. He is a very mobile, agile, at least in his prime. He was a very slippery quarterback who could get outside the pocket and make different things happen. Like Justin Fields can, except for Justin Fields, just like young Lamar, just like young Michael Vick, he panics, looks to run. He's not moving to look for a pass. That's like Patrick Mahomes. That's what he's doing. That's what Lamar Jackson's trying to do now. I would go get Russell Wilson as a vet and try to see if he can get Justin Fields to step his game up. Russell Wilson is going to be expensive, though, because he still owed money, a big contract from Denver. So maybe by going and getting all these rookies, if you do what I suggested, and you can free up some cap space by having more rookies, maybe you can go get Russell Wilson. But you'd have to start him, no doubt about it. If you're looking for somebody else who's going to be a cheaper veteran, Tyrod Taylor is a perfect, he's like not all pass, not all run. He's very, very versatile. He can do both. He's just an athletic quarterback. I think that he would be probably the best fit to bring in as a vet to help train Justin Fields. All right, so in the AFC North, you got Cleveland. Cleveland needs a quarterback. Don't talk to me about Deshaun Watson. That deal's fucked from the start. If it's not injuries, it's an off-the-matter thing. I don't hate Deshaun Watson. It's fact. It's just fact. They never should have given him a major liability. A major liability should have never been handed $250 million guaranteed. He had some good statistical years at the Texans, but he's not Aaron Rodgers or some shit. I don't fucking know where that number come from. Whoever made that decision, I hope that they're fired. Cleveland should keep Joe Flacco, number one. They started 6 different quarterbacks, 5, maybe 5, before they landed on Joe Flacco off the couch. Joe Flacco had a horrible game in the playoffs. He threw 2 pick sixes, but Joe Flacco proved to everybody with very little time working with the team that he could come in and just make shit happen. He was top 5 in all passing categories during the time that he started for the Cleveland Browns. So I think that they need to bring him back. They need to try to sell what's left of Deshaun Watson's contract, sign Joe Flacco dirt cheap, and go draft one of these mid-level rookie guys. Not one of the top three. Maybe the 5th, 6th, 7th best. Is that their first need? I don't think so, but they can find another quarterback in the draft. And Joe Flacco's the perfect vet, the absolute perfect vet to train them as well. Also in the AFC North, you got Pittsburgh. What a shit show in Pittsburgh. They can't throw the ball 2 feet. Mason Rudolph, Mitch Trubisky. A great story with Kenny Pickett, but Kenny Pickett's a hometown kid. I think that he's good, but what happens in the NFL is they force these fucking rookies in too quick, and they expect them to be able to save the day. You know why the Packers were able to go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love? Because they pissed their starter off by drafting another top quarterback during their prime, putting heat on them in practice to perform, number one, but number two, they also put a highly talented rookie behind an all-time vet who could learn everything that they need to learn from the vet while possessing all the skills necessary to go straight in and start. They could have, but they didn't. They forced them to sit behind. Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for years. Jordan Love sat behind Aaron Rodgers for years. They have seamlessly gone from quarterback to quarterback because that's how they do it. CJ Strouds do not happen every fucking year. They never happen, actually. They never. This is a historical thing that's happened with CJ Stroud in Houston. It's unbelievable. To be a rookie force-fed to the dogs like CJ Stroud was and just put your big boy pants up and fucking drop dimes and do the damn thing. I mean, CJ Stroud is an absolute anomaly. Kenny Pickett probably is still, if his confidence isn't completely shattered, he's probably still pretty good for Pittsburgh. But you got a guy out there named Kirk Cousins, who obviously the shit with the Vikings isn't really working out. If it was just an Achilles tear, we wouldn't be talking about him. Where's he going to go play? Aaron Rodgers shattered his Achilles too, and way earlier in the year, and not once have we heard about Aaron Rodgers get moved around. Why is it that Kirk Cousins blows out his Achilles, and all we've heard ever since is who's going to be throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson next year? I don't know what the answer to that is. KOC, Kevin O'Connell, the head coach, he seems to love Kirk. Captain Kirk seems to love KOC. Something's going on there. Kirk Cousins would be perfect in Pittsburgh. He would be perfect in Pittsburgh. They have weapons. They are shitheads, but they have weapons. And maybe if they were happier, they would be a little less shitheads. But, man, I love Kirk Cousins in Pittsburgh. I really do. In the AFC South, you got Tennessee. Now, I absolutely love the kid out of Kentucky, Will Levis. He's Ryan Tannehill if you froze his body and reincarnated him years later. They pull up a side-by-side picture. They almost look alike. Like doppelganger shit. But it's not really an upgrade from Ryan Tannehill except for the age. He's younger. Unbelievable arm. What I will say about Will Levis that he showed last year is that he can get absolutely kicked in the mouth over and over and over again. And he's going to get the ball out, deliver a catchable ball. And he's got unbelievable toughness. And just the arm talent, the arm strength he's a freak. You've seen him without a shirt on. The dude's a fucking rock. Absolute shredded. I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback as jacked as Will Levis. But we'll let the cake bake on that. I really no opinion there. They should ride with him for now. Indianapolis in the AFC South, Anthony Richardson got hurt. That sucks. He looked like a superstar. He looked like a young Lamar, though. He looked like somebody who didn't see his first read, and instead of going through a full progression with his receivers, First one's not there. Shit, I don't know who else is doing what. Let's tuck it and scamper. Hence the injury. And he played like 5 games. I think he finished 2 of them. Maybe 1. But I know that of the games that he did start, he didn't finish the majority of those games. The last one where he got hurt for the year, obviously being the worst. But Gardner Minshew is I don't understand, other than like Jacksonville drafting Trevor Lawrence. I get that, but I don't understand why Gardner Minshew's been such a journeyman. That dude's a fucking gamer. He's not the top 10 pick coming out of college and the Heisman Trophy winner. He doesn't come with that big money vibe or whatever, that superstar reputation. But Gardner Minshew's a fucking ball player, dude. And he can manage a game. And he can change a game. He can create his own moments. And he can take a fucking game over. He will also be the reason that you lose 5 or 6 games, because, But definitely a great backup. The Colts need to re-sign him. He needs to be Anthony Richardson's backup and mentor. I would keep him. In the AFC East, New England, fuck. I mean, their roster's nowhere built to win now. I wouldn't suggest giving them a top-tier quarterback who's a vet, because a veteran quarterback is going to want to come in and be on a team that he believes he has a chance to win a Super Bowl with, or at least make a playoff run. So I don't think that any of these guys on the free agency list, I mean, Wilson, no. Cousins, no. Mayfield's got to stay in Tampa Bay. I'll make that plain and simple. He found a home, and he needs to be signed to at least a 2-year contract to see if last year wasn't a fluke or not. But he deserves a 2-year at least. Joe Flacco, maybe, because he doesn't really care. It seems like football is just kind of fun to him at this point. So I don't think Joe Flacco would really care. Jacoby Brissett, they tried that before. Gardner Minshew, he needs to stay a Colt. Ryan Tannehill, let's just bring in an older, I don't know. Ryan Tannehill, he's just kind of like a blah quarterback. There's a spot in the NFL for him, but at this point, it's just as a backup. And then the further down this list that you go, Jameis Winston, Sam Darnold, Marcus Mariota, these are all guys who have had ample opportunity to prove themselves. Tyrod Taylor, Carson Wentz, these guys have all had ample opportunity to prove that they are still. I mean, Wentz won a Super Bowl. Russell Wilson wins a Super Bowl. Marcus Mariota, Heisman Trophy winner. Sam Darnold, I believe, a Heisman Trophy winner and a number 1 overall draft pick. Jameis Winston, crab stealing, football flinging freak. I mean, that shit that happened in New Orleans where he called his own play, the last play of the season, to get that dude a touchdown, that shit was some comedy, man. I would be pissed if I was a coach, but as a fan, I love that shit. But none of these guys fit in New England. If I'm New England, God, you need so many pieces, but Mac Jones is ruined. I mean, his confidence is shot. Bailey Zappi's a local kid. I mean, I don't know where he's from originally, born and raised, but he went to Western Kentucky. I love Bailey Zappi. Maybe, but, they just need a lot of pieces. So if they are going to try to find the next Tom, they won't. But if they want to, this is a great team to possibly move up in the draft and get a quarterback. Although I do think that you need to build a team kind of first. You're not an attractive destination if you don't have a quarterback. So that's kind of a catch-22 there. If they're interested in solidifying that quarterback spot, they need to move up in the draft, because none of these veteran free agents make sense to me. The New York Jets, they've got Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a legend. He's an MVP, Hall of Fame, future Hall of Famer, probably first-tier ballot Hall of Famer, Super Bowl winner. Aaron Rodgers is that dude. He's different. He's special. Fucking sucks that he blew his Achilles out the 4th play of the game. In the event that something like that happens again, their roster is stacked. Their roster is absolutely fucking loaded with talent. If Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy, they're golden. But if he goes down again, and you have to bring that poor kid, Zach Wilson, in, man, they have fucking ruined Zach Wilson. I don't know Zach Wilson. I don't know anything about him personally. I'm sure he's a great fucking dude. But they have mishandled that whole quarterback room so badly that if there was a shimmer of hope for Zach Wilson to be anything that could resemble a starting quarterback in the NFL, they fucking blew it. If there was any part of him that was going to truly pan out how he was projected to pan out, Robert Salas and their offensive staff they fucked that dude. And I feel for him. I really do. And the fan base in New York is insane. And they have had absolutely, they've not made Zach Wilson's experience any fucking better. That shit was almost as bad as, like, the Steelers fans going after Matt Canada. And we all know how loud that shit got. They have to, in the event that Aaron Rodgers goes down again, they have to have somebody else in there not named Zach Wilson that can seriously come in and give them valuable minutes. I mean, maybe they didn't know Joe Flacco, the Golden Pony Boy, retired. Dude sitting on his couch was, like, still able and willing to play. Maybe they didn't know that. But there's so many players in the NFL. There's so many quarterbacks out there. How many times do you have to see the same movie before you understand what the end result's going to be? When they keep rolling Zach Wilson out there, everybody fucking knows what's coming. Find a new face. Honestly, pick one. Pick a vet. Pick somebody who has been around the block and they can handle the New York media. Do not bring in another fucking rookie to back up Aaron Rodgers. Not yet. And if you are, draft him late. If you're going to take one of the top guys in the NFL draft, they have to be third string. Because the rookie cannot be the replacement behind Aaron Rodgers. It has to be a vet. So maybe a fit here is a Sam Darnold. Carson Wentz, actually, I think, I don't really know what the deal is with him. He disappeared. But when he was playing, it's good. Went to Washington. That's where, like, everything goes to die. We've got Denver. They're searching. Sean Payton's kind of come in, like, totalitarianism and just, like, gutted. And, I mean, it's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's in the water in Colorado. But the second that fucking Dion got to Colorado, he started nutting and gutting the place. That's the same shit that's happening in Denver with Sean Payton. I don't understand what the vision is, but it's not. I don't have to. And nobody's arguing with Sean Payton's, professional career. He's Sean Payton. I hope that he's got a plan, though, because Russell Wilson, in the grand scheme of things, is probably still a top 32 quarterback. So good luck to Sean Payton and his plan. I really can't place my finger on it because I thought Russell was the guy there. I figured he'd get more than 1 year with Sean Payton. Oakland's one of those teams that's close. And maybe the kid that came in late, I think his last name's O'Connell. Hope I didn't fuck that up. I cannot remember the dude's name. But he played good. Sign him. If I'm the Oakland Raiders, I sign him. And they probably don't have a great pick in the first round because of where they finished. I mean, they weren't nowhere near the bottom. But if I'm Oakland, I think I roll with who finished the year, and I go draft a top-tier rookie. Them in New England so far, I would put moving up to get a Caleb Williams or a Drake May or a Jaden Daniels. There's two teams so far that I think they should do that. And I'm only saying New England not because they're close and they've got all the pieces. I'm only saying New England because they're fresh off of Tom Brady. And that fan base is like yearning. I mean, they desperately need to feel comfortable at the quarterback position again, and I get that. If I'm Robert Kraft, I get that. That's the only reason there. Oakland, I feel like, is close. And they have a serviceable quarterback for now. Go get a top rookie, and let's have a quarterback battle. Detroit and the Rams, Goff and Stafford are phenomenal. Aging, they need to find somebody young late in the draft. That's all I'm going to say there. They need to go find somebody young in the draft late. And Stafford and Goff still have a good 2 or 3 in them. Create a Green Bay type of seamless structure where you go from one to the next. Go ahead and get your guy this year. Later. Not a top one. Later. Minnesota, if you are going to get rid of Captain Kirk, I don't understand it. But if you are, your team's not bad. Your team's not bad at all. You would also be a candidate who could probably, for moving up to get a top-tier quarterback, one of those top 3. And I say that because it's not a shitload of pieces that they really need. No team's perfect. Everybody needs something. But Josh Dobbs wasn't the answer. He looked, the Pastronaut, I love the nickname, the Pastronaut, looked like he was going to be the answer there for a minute. Short-lived, fun story, cool to tell. Clearly not the guy. But I would say keep Kirk. If not, go up and get a top guy, because you can trade some draft picks and get away with not having as many draft picks in order to go get a top rookie talent. Chicago, already talked about them. Atlanta needs to move to a heavy run-based offense, which I don't understand why they weren't, because Arthur Smith is a brilliant offensive mind, and he is geared towards blocking schemes and running schemes. Arthur Smith is very, very good at designing blocking schemes to create a rush-heavy offense. I don't understand for the life of me what happened with Bijan last year. I will never understand why Bijan did not get as many carries and the workload that he should have. I don't understand it. But they just need a facilitator. They have 2 pretty decent weapons, but that's not a team that needs to go West Coast style and 4 and 5 wide and spread, throw the ball over the yard like Matt Ryan did. That Atlanta Falcons team that's past. That moment's past. So they need to go get somebody who is athletic, who can work off a play action. Maybe Mariota wasn't the answer, but maybe you go get a Tyrod Taylor or a Russell Wilson or Jacoby Brissett, and maybe see how they do. Or go get Gardner Minshew. Seems to be doing all right in Indy. If AR can stay healthy, they don't really need him. If Gardner Minshew believes he can start, give him a shot. New Orleans, they just need to find a young replacement for Derek Carr. Derek Carr, again, he's like the Rams and the Lions. He's probably got 2 to 3 years left in him, like Goff and Stafford. They just need to go get a younger quarterback later in the draft to back up Derek Carr. If they want to go give like Sam Darnold, Jameis Winston was just in New Orleans. I don't see that happening again. But go get a Sam Darnold if you want a veteran, a Carson Wentz if you want a veteran. But just go get a young dude late in the draft who can sit behind Derek Carr and learn. Carolina's got Bryce Young. He is the prime example of what happens when you force fucking rookies into the fire. The shit doesn't work very often. The kid can play quarterback, no doubt about that, even though he's 5'6". He's not 5'6", but he's very short. If you look at him behind his offensive lineman, I don't understand how he fucking sees. I really don't. I don't understand how the kid can see. he'll probably get better. He'll probably get better again. Veteran. Get somebody to lead that can show him the way. He's trying to learn how to be an NFL quarterback by on his own. He has nobody in there to show him what's what. Who's supposed to teach him that? Adam Thielen? Adam Thielen was brought from Minnesota to be their vet in the locker room. Adam Thielen's not a quarterback coach. He's not an NFL quarterback. He can be a good leader, but he can't properly show Bryce Young how to be an NFL quarterback. They just need somebody like that. Bryce Young can stay the starter for all. I don't give a fuck either way, but that he needs a veteran quarterback. Washington, they're horrible. I mean that's where people go to die. It used to be the Jets. They've kind of turned it around. But Washington's where everything goes to die. If I was a top quarterback, I would not want to go there at all. Although I will say, if you get drafted, it's every kid's dream to be drafted. If you are drafted by them, Eli Manning turned out all right, but Eli Manning turned out okay. Somebody else that did that, I'd hate to say the wrong name, but there was another Hall of Fame quarterback that did the same thing. I want to say it was a 49er, either Steve Young or Joe Montana. I can't. Maybe I'm wrong. But Eli Manning did do that. And it just makes you look like kind of a pampered bitch a little bit, It's what you work for your whole life. Be excited to be drafted and be a millionaire and be a part of the very, very small fraternity that is NFL players, the 1%ers. But man, it would be really, really hard. It would be really, really hard to fake a smile if Washington drafted you. Washington needs so much shit. They got rid of all their best players, basically. I mean, at this point, Terry McLaurin should just be throwing the fucking ball to himself, or they should just run Wildcat with him, maybe. I don't know. That franchise is fucked for the foreseeable future. They're fucked. The Giants, Daniel Jones is okay. I think that he had 2 really good games or standout games that impressed the Giants enough to sign him to a deal. Then he gets hurt. That sucks. Daniel Jones is probably still a top 32 talent. No question. But Tommy DeVito or whatever, the Italian Stallion or whatever the fuck they're calling him in New York, that story was fun. That story was fun while it lasted. I mean that. It came out sarcastically, but I do mean that. The kid got his moment, not the answer. There's enough tape now not the answer. They just need to go get a quarterback maybe a little earlier, maybe like 2nd or 3rd round, just in case something happens with Daniel Jones again. Moving us to the NFC West, our last division to cover. Seattle, re-sign Geno, keep Geno Smith as long as humanly possible. And move up and get one of these top guys. And I say that because they're going to need all the help that they can get basically on the offensive side of the ball. They're not really... DK Metcalf is a superstar freak athlete. Tyler Lockett is the most consistent just possession slot, going to give you 100 some odd catches a year. Get 10 targets a game. But everywhere else on the offense, they're kind of mid, and I think what makes that train roll is Geno Smith. How much of that was Pete Carroll? We'll find out. We'll find that out. But go get somebody else because Geno Smith, he's on a ticking clock as well. But your team is still good enough. You've got enough good pieces, especially with DK and Lockett, to make some shit happen You cannot allow something to happen to Geno or for him to fizzle out earlier than expected and not have a backup plan. I don't know who their backup quarterback is, but I would move up and go get one of these guys. Finally, the Arizona Cardinals. Again, I mean, the chicka boom explosion, like whatever the shit that Gannon did with with that new player, or with that player that he met in the locker room, like the whole game, like that shit alone, for me, I was like, this dude's fucking weird. But Kyler Murray's, I think that story's come to a close. I don't realistically seeing the Arizona Cardinals rebuilding a team to get back to the Super Bowl like they were just about a decade or so ago when they played the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't see them being that close at all to that at all. And I don't see Kyler Murray being the answer. If they do fill all the pieces, Kyler Murray being that guy at the helm that can take you to the top. I don't see that. So, and I don't even know if he's like the best guy where like it would justify going and drafting one of these top talent guys. Excuse me. I'm not sure that Kyler Murray's the guy where you can go and draft Caleb Williams. Say just keep him on the West Coast. Let's say they go get Caleb Williams. I'm not sure from based on what I've seen that Kyler Murray's the vet, the proper fit that's going to lead Kyler Murray, take him where he can't get himself. I don't know if that guidance from Kyler is going to take a Caleb Williams to the next level. So with Arizona, I lean more towards fill spots because God knows they have a shit ton of holes to fill. And go get a serviceable vet. Go get a serviceable vet. There's plenty of them out there. That's what I would say. So that's my view. That's a full breakdown of every single team that needs a quarterback. I don't need to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't need to talk about the 49ers. I don't need to talk about the Dolphins. Don't need to talk about none of those teams. They're fucking good. If I didn't mention the name, if I didn't mention the team, they're fucking good for the next 5 to 10. If everything goes well, they're good. So that's who I did not mention. All right.
A big old Benz truck. I ain't gon' stop, I pop my roof, I ain't giving my mans up. And I ain't get shot by cops that shoot no little handguns. Big old Benz, big old Benz truck. Big old Benz, a big old Benz truck. I ain't gon' stop, I pop my roof, I ain't giving my mans up. And I ain't get shot by cops that shoot no little handguns. Big old Benz, big old Benz.